So, hello everyone. Um, I hope you can hear and see us well. So, we're starting. We're glad
Hi
to
guys.
welcome all of you, who joined today, our like minded people and passionate design enthusiasts. So, today we are celebrating World Usability Day 2023, and the theme of this year is collaboration and cooperation. And this event itself is a collaboration between four design communities. Uh, DesignSpot here with us, OffGrid, Platea, and ThinkUX. So,
Yeah, and me and Irina, we are representing ThinkUX here today. A couple of words about our community. We are on stage for 5 years, and initially we have started in Kazakhstan, but now we have around 3,000 people joining our community from all over the world, and we encourage you to go and join us in We Are Community platform, as well as follow us on our social media links, and that way you can stay tuned to our future events and joining us in the future. And Irina is going to send all of the necessary links now in the chat. Please don't hesitate to go and check them out. Uh, and in the next few hours, we're going to explore different facets of the collaboration, starting from partnerships and communication with customers, and finishing with panel discussion about professional growth. And you can send your questions to the chat right after each speaker will finish their presentation or in the end. And speakers will choose the best question um, from all of the questions, and that person will get 3 UX coins. What's the UX coins? So throughout the year, we've been running different events, and the best questions always got some UX coins. And the one who will get the most, or a couple of people, several who gets the most of UX coins, they will get some special presents in the end of the year. And that's all from us, and we are very excited to start. And our first speaker is Hannah. She will talk about cooperation in challenging partnerships. Please, Hannah, the stage is yours.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. So, thanks for inviting me to this wonderful event. That is my second speaking at World Usability Day conference. And today we won't talk about any processes or designs. We will talk about communication and highlighting this as a key success element in any project. So today I would like to embark you in journey into the intricacies of navigating the dynamic project landscape of the Arabic region from the project collaboration perspective, of course. And I invite you uh, to crack this code of mastery in collaboration when you have and when you meet some kind of challenging partnership or challenging clients. And first of all, I would like to say some words about how to navigate the Arabic region. These dynamics are some key points that we also will count when we have the possibility to work at any Arabic project. And as you can see, the first one, not the most important, but one of them is that when you side of to work with Arabic region on the Arabic project, you need to count these points. And first one is let's call it office, right? So we are to understand that in Arabic or Muslim countries, people don't like remote work, and they're almost always working from office. When I go to such kind of project, that was part of surprise, just because here in our communities in Yapam and other companies. We are working remotely for some period of time already, and we know that we can be very productive and bring results, deliver results. So, and here that was one of the most stuck stop point when we started our project, as clients at first had to follow ours, to catch ours, to, I don't know, we are to communicate in a good manner to prove that we can deliver results, so we can be effective working remotely. That was one point. Next point that we should also count working on Arabic project is a very strict NDA. So we at our project always had connection only on the client's VDI. That means that we always had to have our profiles clear. They are to upload it, our photos. They are when we have some leaves or vacations, sick days. We also had to fill in all this information into clients' profiles that we had there. And as e-commerce, we didn't allow to join any single meeting, any single sync using our EPAM accounts, EPAM teams, all of that stuff. So that means that we should really appreciate and follow this rule just because that's a contract and there's expectations from the client. Next, next point that is very interesting, should always count that for all Arabic man employee, it's very important to have prayer time. That means that if you want to call someone or to reach to ask some questions, all of that stuff, you are to see what time is it now and to understand whether it's a prayer time or not, just because we had some cases when we are trying to solve some questions and needed to reach some IT specialists, architect solutions, and we didn't have to do that right our sync calls just because this or that man were on a prayer time at that moment and won't be reachable at that time. Then working on such projects, we also count that in almost all cases, we'll have the project both in two languages, in English and in Arabic. And when you're working in some other European languages, that is okay, just because they are in a bit way similar one to each other, but Arabic is totally different. And preparing designs and after that development implementation, we need to count that all the texts, all the designs, all the layouts will be inversed, right? So there were some questions with it, and we needed to have a clear communication how we will implement such designs and the text translation themselves. And in our case, we had a wonderful strategy. We were using a Google Translate as a first iterations, and putting these just copy paste Arabic texts in our layouts. And after that, we were creating prototypes or sharing links with for development team, so that just to show our results to the internal communication team, asking to check our table with texts both in English and Arabic, and the prototype where it is used to understand the whole environment of this text using. And after that, asking to check, to correct and return our corrected texts. And after that, we were putting them in our project. And relations also is a key point. What it means under relations in this case, I would say that it is very unuseful, probably, or unexpected that Arabic people do not use social networks. Any of them, they are some, I don't know, count privacy, all of that stuff, and do not except some public relations. They don't put, I don't know, likes, hearts, all of that stuff, and they highly value ranks. It is very very strictful to see what are the ranks in your organization, to find out how to communicate with the stakeholders, with your clients, and all of them. So these are something like main points. And now I would like you to probably to interact with you in some kind and ask you to participate in your expectations. So before above, I pointed out some kind of ideas, some kind of basis of working on such project, and would like you to share your ideas. What would you expect in project collaboration, communication, knowing these based principles I mentioned above? So I would ask to help me to share in our chat the link to the Mentimeter, and if not, you can scan this QR code so that you would go to this page. I will count next, and probably to write some ideas, expectations, what it could be, some communication on the project, all of that stuff. Did you manage to? Okay, wonderful. Cultural differences. Just share your opinions. So just imagine that you got an offer, yes, to work in the Arabic project. What would you expect in communication way and in general working on this project? So you are not working it, and just you have some offers, troubles in collaboration, different mentality, patriarchy, delays in responses, some more ideas, diversity, communication problems, domination by whom? Meetings, discussions. In general, you're right, but probably some of these expectations sometimes seems to be like a myth. And why, I will let you know. So any other ideas probably from your side? Or in general, they covers all your expectations? Okay, let's go further. So you are right in some way, and we will see. Just because we need to, first of all, we need to understand client expectations, to have clear communications, to have wonderful results of the project. In our case, we had, I don't know, two problems. Let's say them like to these obstacles to cover, just because first we were on a new region with new country, and the second one, we weren't the only vendor for the client. So in our team there were other vendors, not only farmers, and that is why we had also an aim from our side to win these competitive among other vendors. So that was very interesting and challenging case. That is why I support that it's very important to understand the client expectations first, what these expectations could be. So results, right? What does it mean? That means that Arabs expects to have all the results yesterday or even before yesterday. That means that you don't have enough time just to think it over, all of that stuff. You have a very tough deadlines, and we can join with the deadlines point, just because deadlines are very extremely tough. And in our case, we even didn't have a clear roadmap. We didn't know what to do next. We had only something like we need to do that till Friday or till the end of this day. And it causes some misunderstanding from our expectations as an European company, So also we have our own process view, process understanding, but in our case, there we had a client-centric collaboration, right, according with his vision of processes, and we even had an escalation of our teammate at the beginning of the project just because he wanted to suggest our own vision of processes, and client didn't agree with that. So we need to understand it and hear clients' expectations in this way as well. Transparent, it's extremely important to be transparent with the client in your communication. If you are planning your leaves, please put it in a table, send it something like an emails, yes, in a very polite form, that you are going to have your annual vacation, all of that stuff. Plan it beforehand and you won't have any misunderstanding from the client side. You always should be transparent in working hours. If you have some troubles and you need to, I don't know, work out, to go out somewhere during working hours, please inform the client and say that you will work out this time in a lunchtime, or someone later. So also you'll have no misunderstanding in this case. So please be transparent in your absence, project blockers, and ask questions much beforehand. So when you are transparent, that'll be great, and you'll have wonderful results. So when you have calls with the client, you should understand that probably that was in our case, right? We had a stand up every day. That is okay. But what was unuseful for us, so that the client could call you anytime he wants without any notification. And I had always some cases when every time I wanted to have a cup of coffee or have a cup of tea, I always took a cell phone with me to the kitchen, right? Just because the client called me exactly at this time when I wanted to have a rest and just to, I don't know, stand up and leave my working place. So that was very unuseful. And frankly speaking, one of our e-farmers was escalated from the project just because she didn't answer such calls frequently, let's say in this way. So we are to count this, just because the client can call you somewhere at the beginning of the at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, just knowing that these hours are your working hours and you should be at your notebook. Then delegating, that's a very interesting point. We hadn't met beforehand. That if reps, some kind of other teams, other departments understand that you can do their work, they will definitely deliver it to you. So in your case, in our case, we should be bold, and I don't know, to have our own borders, so that not to do too much work, and the work we shouldn't do in our case as a team. So it's very important to count while communicating with other departments, other stakeholders. And speaking about stakeholders, we should understand that we need to deserve access to stakeholders. That means that at the beginning of the project, for instance, me as a lead designer at that project, I didn't have the possibility to speak to someone else except our client. And after me and our team deserved this communication, we were redirected to some other departments, and that was wonderful. So it's very important to deserve this communication. um, that is why when we are speaking about these understanding of clients expectations, we see that not every EPAMA probably could follow such rules. They are quite easy, and all of you, all of us know all these principles. Probably not some specific of the region, but the principles of communication, all of that stuff. And in this way, we had a very rare situation on the project when we got the first escalation of our teammate after only 2 weeks after the project started. And in general, we have 9 escalations of our farmers. Just imagine. And these guys were of different years of experience, even 10 years of experience working only in YPARM. And that means that it's very important just to learn these specific, these bases, and just follow the rules. And you'll be the winner at such project and such region. So after these escalations, we had internal investigation. We were trying to understand what is the problem, how to solve it, how to communicate with the client, where are these pain points of these escalations. And we had a wonderful delivery manager from the start, from the beginning. He was with us at every daily stand up. Just imagine your delivery, joining your stand ups every day, trying to understand our pains, trying to be transparent with clients' expectations, with his aims, trying to encourage us, right? And he was a very wonderful one. But somewhere 3 months before the project ended, there was a decision by our delivery manager to change. Yes, the delivery manager, not just because the first one wasn't good working with the client, but just to change the vector of the project communication. So it worked. So in case you see that your project in an orange zone, you can probably try to not to escalate teammates, but try to change the delivery manager just to change the communication with the client, directly with the client. So in this way, we managed to somehow working with these escalations. And by the way, till the end of the project, there were no teammates by chance. So that was a really wonderful, good team that was working for the results, and our client promised to return for us somewhere in the future. So that means that all of these points also work. uh, what else can we say about key success factors, right? So that is very important. I guess all these principles, just try to, I don't know, memorize, to remember them again, just because we don't know what clients are waiting for us and what projects we'll be working on. So proactivity is a very wonderful success factor, just because it's very important to anticipate these challenging. Yes, it's very important to take initiatives, to show these initiatives to the client, to implement some kind of solutions before issues can arise, right? To try to ensure proactivity and forward thinking approach in this project management. It's very important, yes, to show your proactivity. Then, of course, cultural nuances is very important. And you were sharing your ideas that there could be some dominates working on Arabic project, probably. And I would also tell that in this region there are no gender equality in our European understanding. Yes, but what it means, for instance, in our case, on our project, we had ladies first principle at standards. That means that women are very ranks, are very values, and you'll be surprised, but among the chair board of our company, and that was a financial organization, governmental financial organization, among 6 chairmen, there were 2 women. um, there were lots of stakeholders as head of departments. Other department also were women, and that is wonderful. And in this way, that means that there are no obstacles, and you can grow, never minding what gender you are. But we should come that they respect a woman as a woman, from, I don't know, all the meanings, right? Then it's very important to have such learning attitude on your project. So commitment to cultural sensitivity, right? Adapting strategies, right. We see that religion normals, that is okay, but in this way we should, I don't know, when we see such difficult or probably mature project, we just thank the client in our mind, yes, that we can grow during this project, during such communication we can grow as a specialists, as a leaders, though that is wonderful, and we should keep in mind that learning is a key point, is a key factor. Then of course exceed expectations works as well. So we should, or we can, yes, surpass and predefine standards. We can go above and beyond some deliverables, right, to provide some outcomes that can also surpass some requirements that we have on our project. And in this way, um, you won't be, you not just only won't be escalated, but you'll be mentioned as a I don't know, superstar on the project, and that is great. And in our case, it was very important to I called it meet client style. What does it mean? So it's very, it was very useful to copy the style of the client way of communication, to using the same phrases he used, right, in a positive way, all of that stuff. And as it was a governmental organization, a business organization, right, for instance, I was wearing a white jacket and some kind of business clothes at our stand-ups, at least, just because it helped, I don't know, to find out non um, so not a visible, right, but a psychological equality, yes, and understanding, non-verbal communication. And that is also a key success factor working on such mature project. Then we can mention also some communication strategies, of course, as we are speaking about communication, right? So it is very important to be polite, and to use some polite phrases, maintain only a positive tone. We are to value, this differences, to create this collaboration atmosphere. It is very important. So it works not just to answer in a short way, but something like be so kind to help me in this or that. Try to use, I don't know, to learn from their side, just because Arabic region is very polite. They know English very good. I mean, business communication, and so our task is just to copy them, yes, and or communicate in this way. So it's very important to have very strong skills in writing communication. You have to be clear. You have to be precise, writing precise business writing skills. And also it is very important to use Outlook emails or some kind of other emails client uses, yes, to consolidate some spoken issues, spoken ideas, some tasks, some expectations, right, just to have approvals if you need it. If you have some controversial issues, you can say, so look, I sent that email and didn't have answer, all of this stuff, just that is why this or that wasn't done. So just try to gain the approvals via emails. And also we know all this, but calls with the camera on also is a very effective communication strategy, that just because that means that your communication is open. Yes, you have more personal connection. You can create this visual and interactive environment, especially if we remember that this region very not used to work remotely. Yes, this camera on is a key effective strategy in communication in this region. And of course, camera on strategy bring us some kind of human touch, right, in these virtual interactions. So just remember these 3 points and you'll be a star on such project. uh, Also, I guess we can touch some lessons from this field, just because we had a lot escalations, but we also growth a lot as a leaders, as a wonderful specialists, so that the client would like to retain for us to EPAM. And as a EPAM, we managed to win this competition among other vendors. That is wonderful. So some kind lessons from my side. Yes, effective communication skills, very important to be successful and to navigate among these cultural nuances we mentioned above. Yes, also it's very important to master adaptability, just because, we used to work with some kind of strategies or processes. Here you can face some others. So just try to adapt to this and just to listen to your client, and that'll be okay. Also, it's wonderful to develop problem solving capabilities, right? And not just you are suggesting some decisions to the project, by you are suggesting these decisions under very high pressure situations. That is a very wonderful skill you can train if you get the offer to work in the Arabic region. That is wonderful. And it also important to understand how to plan your own work, how to meet these stringent deadlines to have the results. So if you just hear the client and he said that we need only 2 days to finish this or that part of work, just do that. uh, Try to understand how to manage your own time to finish this task, and you'll get the result as a team and as a team with the client. And of course, such mature project can bring you some insights, not only you to, but into the client management and some expectations and challenges working on such mature project. And if someone, if you ask me whether would I prefer to work at such project again or not? I would say yes, despite some tough deadlines, despite all that difficult circumstances, on all of that stuff. I'll be very pleasant to return to this region and to work with such clients and with our clients again. So I guess that's all from my side. Probably have some any questions. I guess we have some, I don't know, 5 minutes to answer them. Anyway, you can leave your questions for me in our chat. I'll be able to see them later, and I can answer you in the chat anyway, anytime. Um, and from my side, that is all.
Um, I think yes, we. Oh, sorry. Uh, I think we have a question for you in the chat. Let me like show it. Do you
Hmm.
see
Hmm.
it like that? Yeah.
How do you recommend to manage this customer behavior when they call without prior agreement? Um, I guess that is okay, just because in our case, such calls were on the topic itself. Yes, and they were okay. Sometimes I missed calls, and that was okay. And I wrote to the client, look, you were calling me something urgent, all of that stuff. And I could say that I was, I don't know, on a lunchtime, I wasn't at home or something like that. And the client could say, no, no, that is okay. I called those men, and we managed this so we managed to organize this question. That is okay. That means, again, not just calls, the only point here, but the communication with the client and transparency with the client. You can say that, look, I have I don't know, two children, and I need to bring them from school, and I will be absent at this time. So that means that I won't be at my working place 10 minutes or something. And the client understands that that is okay, and that is life. Sometimes just because he sometimes wasn't at office as well, we are all human being, right? So we are just to be transparent in our communication, and as I mentioned it beforehand, right, just say the client beforehand, be transparent with him, communicate, try to understand why he is calling, why you're not working, and try to find some I don't know how to say it, try to find something between try to follow some sentence line, something like that, right? Not to be absent every time, and just count that we are all human beings, and if you are transparent and you deserve true trust from the client, that'll be okay with that calls.
All right. I think we have answered the question, and we just have another one.
Mhm.
Um, do you see it on the screen?
Did you need to cover your head in calls with the client? No, of course, no. Just because we respect their culture, they respect our culture. That is okay. And our exact product owner wasn't an Arabic man. He was from a European country, just living in Abu Dhabi. So he wasn't wearing also traditional clothes. He was wearing jacket, tie, all that stuff, t-shirt. So that is okay, and you shouldn't follow their traditions just because that is not your culture.
Right, good. And while we're waiting for other question, may I ask what, in your opinion, was the most difficult part of all this, like collaboration?
Mm, I guess the client position probably, but it's a good point as well. But I don't know, we are working always under the pressure just because we saw the word ASAP so often that it seemed to us that our client's name is ASAP. Just joking, right? Yeah, but that was ASAP, not acceptable, and we are to be bold enough to harass others. That was so strange for us just because in Japan we are learning all that harassments. They are not a good way in communication, all that stuff, but we were hearing such words, such phrases. But if you just look at it at another angle, you understand that we are to be bold, and that is okay just because I said previously that Arabs wants to deliver you and your team everything they could. So you need to, I don't know, held your borders, right? Held your tasks, only your zone. And in these meanings, this bold is quite a working strategy. Also, if you just don't if you are too switch off your feelings and look at these as SAPs and not acceptables, something like I don't know, strategy in doing in the right way. And when you see that you are just doing your work and see the results and the a wonderful feedback from the chairmen, the whole chairman board from the organization, you understand that that way, as I said, our team survived, and that was a brilliant team. That was a crystallized team that was working, smiling, joking. Our product owner, our client, was a wonderful man with a wonderful English. We were learning all the time. He was, I don't know, after we deserved this trust, he was showing us something like a internal kitchen, some situations, and that was wonderful. So I guess when you just to understand the project from another way and see that you can learn from this stress disappears somewhere. I am proud
Yeah.
that I was working on this project with this client.
Yeah, thanks. I think we all can learn from you, like to treat everything very positively.
Positive.
After all, yeah. So, all right. Seems like we don't have questions anymore. So, thank you very much for your interesting talk. That was really fun. So, and I think we can move forward.
Thanks,
Um,
everyone.
Thank you. We have our next speaker here with us. Yes, Sergey.
Hey guys, this is me. Oh, next speaker. Can you hear me well? Can you see me?
I think yes, I can. So, do you want our audience to confirm it, or we just can move?
No, just asking you. That's enough.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I can hear you. Well, so the stage
Lovely.
is yours.
Awesome. Thank you guys. So, hello again. My name is Sergey and I'm a experienced designer with more than, I believe, 15 years of experience, and I'm also a design manager. And today is one of my favorite topics is like presenting here is tips and tricks of communication with customer and not only. So let's have a look. Here's the agenda. So quite basic thing. Let's start from introduction, then goals and objectives, then plan and timeline, some philosophy from me as always, and a quick summary. So this is it. Please reminding you are always welcome to ask anything in chat. I can have a look. So, and hope we will have enough time for Q&A session at the end. So thank you very much. And let's start. So communication, right? So what is communication? Quite a global question, right? It's like everything and nothing at the same time because communication and it's not the goal. It's just the instrument. So we're not talking about like friendly communication, small talks, icebreakers, and all of that. In the global case, we are dealing with a business communication here, right? So we are dealing with customer, we are dealing with some serious, projects, companies, long-term responsibility, relationships, and all of this, right? And some things that I'm going to share may seem quite obvious, right? So you can say something like, hey, Sergey, stop saying this. This is obvious thing. But I love to tell that all the good things are kind of a big part of good things are pretty obvious and simple, to be honest, right? Everyone knows that fruits, and vegetables are healthy and good for you, but many people still proceed to eat tons of sweets, right? Everyone knows that sport and physical activity is good for you, but quite a limited amount of people do regular physical activities, right? So please do not wait for some, quantum leap extraordinary, discoveries. I just want to recap quite obvious, but still useful and great things that work well in my practice. So once again, the communication itself is just the instrument, right? But that's the this instrument is very powerful because clear understanding of communication goals, time frame, and expected result is crucial, right? So as you can see, several major things: goals, time framing, and expected result, right? And when we say on goal, the communication once again is just an instrument. And what is the goal? Let's have a look. So in my opinion, the goal is usually maybe selling some idea, or delivering some piece of information or networking. All of this can be goal and many, many, many things, but not the communication itself. And what is crucial when you're thinking about your communication goals? So, number one, please understand, realize, and fix the real goal of meeting and problem you're just going to solve. And also, please help people to understand the real goal of communication, just because it shouldn't be a wasting of time, right? Another one, be specific. Once again, reminding we are talking about business communication mostly here, right? So be specific, focus on real important things, on users, on business, on metrics, and everything related. When you collaborate and communicate, it's very crucial to be, sure that you are dealing with the right people, right? So define key stakeholders and their expectation and fix this, document it, because it shouldn't be like just within your head. It shouldn't be, posted, documented somewhere, and it also should be aligned with everyone. Just very, very crucial also to align your vision, your understanding with everyone who matters, just because in real life, sometimes picture can be slightly different and your understanding of the goal and success and actually overall project can be different from the stakeholders vision, right? So uh, that's why I really love to remind that you need to validate, identify, prioritize, ask many, many, many questions, and always agree on criteria and KPI and picture of success. For me, that is also a very important thing. And for me, the communication with customer is also a great way to ask for some additional, things. Customer may be very confident and deeply drilled within his own, business and domain, and some things may seem very obvious and well known for anyone, for him, right? And he may assume he already know it. So please don't be afraid, because once again, goals is the thing number one. When we discovering goals, drilling down, they may be a little bit even annoying. You may ask and re-ask the same things several times, but this is very crucial. If you are not sure and maybe feel awkward when you asking some, simple and primitive, as you may think things, so please let people know why you ask this, right? You need this information to seriously improve their business, to help them to answer their questions. Please make it happen. Let them better understand why you're asking, because you're not just another guy, annoying one, with the weird questions. You just need all of this information to connect the dots and gather the whole picture and the whole puzzle, right? Next crucial thing for me, it's a time and timeline and a deadline, because all the things should be done and asked and visited and addressed in the proper timeline, right? So let's review several critical things from my perspective here. So uh, you should be definitely aware of the whole process, the timeline and agreements on it, just because usually when we deal with a quite complex and long-term project and business communication and collaboration, it lasts more than one time. Definitely it's like half a year, 1 year, more, or something like this. So that's why you should be pretty aware of the whole timeline and the deadline, just to ask proper questions and get the proper answers in the right time. Just to be aware, it's not too early, it's not too late, it's just the moment. And usually it really helps, like with everything in our life. It's much easier, as we used to say, to eat an elephant by smaller parts, right? So every global project, every big project, but any project at all can look very complex, long-winded or something. But when you chunk this in a more clear, understandable pieces, it's always more usable, doable, and understandable. I also should say that I really love when communication it's a regular and predictable process. It's like everyone is aware when it happening, so why it happening, and it has definite formats. So it's not just like random things, something like texting someone, hey, can we meet in 10 minutes? It should be perfectly scheduled, aligned, and predictable. So usually, you might have several types of things. One for presenting some intermediate results, another one for some, polishing, grooming, planning, all of this. And please reserve something for, Q&A session, or maybe just to discussing, brainstorming, proposing some ideas with customer. This also works. Uh, and I really love to say, once again, another Captain Obvious thing, but think more often, because it is much better to present something semi-done, some concept or draft and dirty thing, just sitting quiet in the corner and polishing some, perfect thing that may be done absolutely wrong. So this is the key, right? And as I promised, this is a time to collect all of this together, just because we already touched some goals, crucial things, timeline, and I believe there is a perfect moment to collect all of this into a smaller picture and more finalized pictures. So general thoughts here. Once again, communication is the key, right? Think often, check and recheck your assumptions. It's not like one-time thing. So it it is not the key when you just met once in the beginning of the project, then probably somewhere in the middle, and then one time in the end. This is a perfect, recipe how to ruin your communication and your project. Uh, be proactive and know everyone. And I assume that everyone from the key stakeholders and managers should also be aware of you. Don't be afraid to ask and clarify, right? Because once again, if you feel awkward, just tell people. For me, I know that I probably ask some, weird and simple and primitive things, but for me, that's maybe a new business, new domain, new design specific. So please, as much information as you can. I'm collecting it, I'm mapping it, I'm aligning all of this, and this is really crucial for getting really helpful and vital, result that matters, and that will definitely help you to improve or transform your business. Uh, Make sure you involve really important people into communication. So there is a quite simple, exercise and deliverable for this, naming stakeholders map. So please make sure you include right people into the meeting. You ask right people right questions, And please save people's time, right? So just do not include all the people you know within the company into that communication, just because people are pretty busy, right? And this project and communication collaboration with you may be just a part of their daily activities, and they have tons of their daily routine and own KPIs and all of that. So please respect them. Please respect the, work and life balance and all of that, and be sure you only include people who matter into particular kind of communication. And additionally, it will simplify the decision maker making, the collecting the outcomes, making the meeting follow up for you, just because only proper people will be addressed, and only proper people will be assigned to one particular tasks or questions, just because when you include everyone into the communication, sometimes people may feel, hey, I'm here but I'm not really related, but I should do something, just I'm not like the fly on the wall, right? So I'll type something, and this may be absolutely, weird, random, unnecessary, recommendation. That may trigger you. Yeah, you may start follow all of that, and you may finalize all of this in a completely wrong destination point, right? So one more second of philosophy, as you think, right? So as I mentioned, goal, timeline, and the expected result is crucial. So as you can see, detailed plan lets customer and team clearly understand what problem we solve, who is involved and responsible, what's the timeline, what is the deliverable, and how we measure our success rate, right? So the final, you know, result of this, outcome of this, is the transformation of your communication plan, of your communication way from this, as you can see on the left side, random and unprepared. When you just completely lost, you're just jumping into meetings just because they appear, or maybe you just even scheduling them just because you feel you should, but honestly you do not understand what to discuss, who is the proper one to address all of this, and what to do actually. So no agenda, no plan, no goal. This means absolutely nothing at the end. And this even may, bug people, because people do not like waste own time. They do not want and do not love to multitask, and this feels absolutely useless and annoying. And additionally, on the top of the absolutely, ruined and unfinished communication plus project potentially, you may also get some kind of escalation. So here is like the absolutely weird designer or guy asking random weird things, or maybe not asking anything at all. So, and at the final of it, just the way of this communication, it's usually you just listening, you just follow, you just like, Figma slash Sketch slash Photoshop operator. So you just moving the pixels, not driving anything. So not interesting, not effective. So I'd like this to transform into this, as you can see on the right side. So well prepared and planned with structured agenda, structured expectations, with proper people on call, with absolutely clear KPIs, outcomes, and picture of the bright future, expected result, with great timing and meeting follow up. And you drive when you schedule it, or you at least co-drive or consult or really help with this, project and communication. Um, just one, turn back to the timing, just I forgot to mention, because I can probably really approximately divide customers into several types. So type number one, when people absolutely agree with with you in every point. They're usually multitasking or something, and this and the red flag. So they do not ask questions. They absolutely agree. They promise you to do something, to bring something, to get some statistics and all of that. That may seem very sweet, cute, and friendly, but honestly, the outcome of this is nothing. Nothing really happening. And while multitasking and doing other thing and not really being involved and interesting, they usually do not listen to you at all. Another one is just when people like really, really, deeply focused, really, but they do not have any, particular answers, solutions yet. They literally like brainstorming or doing some job within their, brain and head, literally on the call with you. So here you may just focus them somehow and help them to get that outcome up, just because you are pretty limited within the, sync time. So try them, navigate them, propose your help. Just always have some, ideas, templates, or something for this kind of people. And do not be very destructive in terms of, this weird things happening when it's not interesting, when it's not following, the particular line and goal. People are usually easily distracted by anything. Something like, hey, my dog is here. Here is like, I don't know, Jumbo, me Jumbo. Hey, I also have a cat. Have a look. All of this. So this is once again sweet, cute, and nice as an icebreaker or some few seconds activity. But please do not let this ruin your communication. So what's next here? Once again, let's summarize all of this. I know that many, many, many things told, but I really want to narrow down. I really want this presentation and speech could be as much, applicable and helpful to you, because I really love this kind of talks when it's not just like a blah 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 or kind of, radio broadcast or something in the background. I really love to help people to get some, quick tips and tricks they may really use right now after the meeting. So that's why you can see so many stickers over here on every second slide in this presentation. So let's summarize quickly, right? So as I love to say, communication is the key, right? But please do this properly. Do not hesitate to ask, and re-ask again. Be proactive, think often, mind the deadline, and know everyone. Be in smart rush, as I love to say. That means you are just focused, concentrated, you mind the timeline, but you're just following the particular, plan. You focus on business metrics, KPIs, and the right things. And please also keep in mind, who are you communicating with? So we may have a different level of communication. So if you communicate with the customer's designer, so please sound correctly. Please discuss design related things mostly. So all about the grids, pixels, design outcomes, users, and everything. So when you switch to business, please follow all about like business KPIs, metrics, transformational things, all of this. Uh, and meeting follow up. Probably not everyone of you is aware what is MFU. Sorry, this is meeting follow up. This is another quite obvious thing, but that is really crucial because people may multitask, they're always in a hurry, in a rush. So usually half of the meetings are finishing without any agreements about without any particular assignments, without any particular people related, and without any meeting follow-up. This is a pretty simple thing, so please devote some 5 to 10 minutes, especially when you are an initiator and you're driving all of this communication. please devote some time to do so. And this should become your good habit. This is very crucial. People always appreciate because our communication usually happens quite regularly, so this will be a great platform to start another communication in a week to say or something. And this is always helpful to refresh your mind, to see what you are agreed on and what are the next milestones, right? And I also love to say that please do some homework, right? Some preparation, because usually every meeting needs some, even a little bit of preparation, right? So please do this kind of homework. If you're just going to meet your customer the very first time, please research his competitors, please find some information, statistics, their pros and cons, their success, and some pitfalls for last several years, as this may help you to speak the same language, better understand the context, and I promise you the customer will be seriously surprised by your awareness of his business. So I think this is it. And the last thing I should say, it's actually, we're talking about business communication, correct? But this doesn't mean you may sound some kind of very professional, weird or something. We are still dealing with people, right? So you just are highly recommended to be still, friendly, open-minded, smiley and open. So that really matters and that really helps. And please help people better understand your context, better understand your value. Please do not afraid to ask question, but please be always welcome to answer the question and follow that question, right? So be the mediator, be the collaborator, be that person who may meld the ice and connect everyone and help to, make that all of this magic happen. So this is it. That little promo. So here you can see the bunch of QR codes. You can follow and subscribe each of, substreams of Platea design community. So as you can see, we have a YouTube, Medium design blog, Telegram channel, and your last one is our page on We Are Community platform. So please subscribe, comment, like, and all of that. So let me have a look whether we have some questions. No?
Hi there. Yeah,
Hello?
we do have questions, and thanks for a great presentation, Sergey. Let me read out some questions for you. The first one is Leah. She is asking, how do you plan your communications with users?
Yeah, that's a great thing. Actually, when we speak about like high level, actually the plan is the same, right? So this is like another kind of communication, right? It also should have a particular plan, the goals, the outcomes, and it definitely should have a particular structure. When there's communication with users, for instance, the interview or some kind of discussion, that definitely should have a particular plan, structure, and agenda. And you should be definitely prepared, and you should drive the particular flow. You shouldn't be found lost within the situation when you just only spent, I don't know, 10 minutes and you're just out of context, out of questions and all of this. So definitely you should prepare particular, discussion list, some questions, some plan B. So what to do when it's all following in a different, way, or probably user is not just following your expectations. It may happen. So I remember one kind of interview when the quality gate and the point number one was the experience of having the several records dealing with the support of one, global company because we were checking the support quality. And that guy reply number one was, I never dealt with that company and their support. So you just oh, sorry, just not to waste time. You just once again need to have a plan B and some additional, frameworks how to proceed that collaboration and anyway make this useful and effective.
Thanks for your answer. Really love the plan B part. We have another question from Irina. Where is the balance between little communication and too much? Because we all have so many meetings, and where to squeeze in actual work.
Just, I guess I need some clarification. What is the too little communication and too much? What is meant
Um,
by too little communication?
I suppose it's a balance between having the meetings already and then adding more to like know more or to try to dig in into the question or something. And when it's when you don't do that and you don't get answers, then it's too little, but you still have to attend all those regular meetings.
Okay, gotcha. So once again, very simple thing, I believe. Please write down all of the meetings because, yeah, absolutely agree. Every one of us, I believe, has ton of that stuff, right? Please write it down. Try to prioritize. Probably you are involved in so many things you are not really related to, and just because I know that managers love to add people just to be there, like, hey, I can call everyone, so 100 plus, and this is just another boring town hall or something, or you are a designer and they are discussing some Java architecture, and you're just probably supposed to be there. Please prioritize, and when I promise you, you will definitely discover some kind of 30% of absolutely useless stuff. So please double check the necessity of you being there with the initiator of the meeting. Text your project manager, text reach your team lead or someone. So potentially they just only included you just to let it be. So I believe you may easily skip, ignore, and delete yourself from 30% of that one. Or another one is just please be more specific on agenda. Please ask people to specify preliminary what is expected. I remember the very good promise I got from one of our managers like 7 years ago, something. No agenda, no meeting. So you can easily, I know that's too strictly, too hard, excuse me, but in many, many cases, that means you can absolutely skip it, right? So when the initiator and the person who's scheduling this did not wrote did not write few lines of text just to let people know what is going to happen there, it's supposed to be absolutely useless thing, right? And at the same time, an opposite, please increase the number of meeting you are driving, right? So just transform from just listener and follower, so the person who's like literally half sleeping on that meetings and multitasking, to the one who is really driving, who really matter, who really solving the problems, consulting, and who is really helpful on the meetings. So I think that's my way of balance. Just because we all still have only 24 hours, in a day, we all need to sleep, eat, have a fun, relax, and spend time with your family. So this is critical. Please do that. And once again, nothing really, rocket science thing here. Please start doing that. Write down, prioritize, get rid of half of them, remove to improve, and I'll promise you will be more effective and focused and not frustrated and the rest of the day when you only just all about communication, about like weird topics and nothing delivered till the end of the day.
Thanks. Thank you, Sergey. It's a great answer. We don't have any more answers, just people saying that it was a great speech and thank you very much. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Uh, and now we will be moving to our next speaker. It's Julia. Let's wait for her to come.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Julia. Yeah. And it's Julia Matvienko, and she's going to speak about collaboration with the product owner. And today she's showing off-grid community, and the stage is yours. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this introduction. Okay, guys, so today we are going to speak about very important topic on how to make your product owner trust you. And the title of this topic sounds like that: designer's opinion matters and how to stop drawing nice pictures for your product owner. I was in the position when I was just a person who really was drawing nice pictures for my product owner. And now, fortunately, I'm not in that position anymore. And today I'm going to show some tips and tricks on how to collaborate with your product owner in a correct way, and how to become a UX expert who has impact on the final product. So first things first, let's clarify for everyone here who the product owner is. So the Scaled Agile says that the product owner is a member of the Agile team responsible for defining stories and prioritizing the team backlog. So in general, for me, the product owner is this huge visionary who has the understanding of what our product should look like in the nearest future. And the product owner, in my opinion, has to drive the whole team to achieve this future perfect state of the product. And as a designer, you must be the best alive for this product owner. Let's just quickly review the main product owner responsibilities. So he has to own the scope and backlog. He has to define iteration and stories. He has to set up the KPIs and OKRs and roadmap. He has to prioritize tasks for the team. He has to approve design work, yes, before the customer. And also he has to solve like team conflicts and different situations, and he has to understand enablers. Enabler is something that must be done in order to proceed with the other tasks. And you would ask me, so why product owner is more my bestie as a designer, right, than business analysts? So the huge difference between these two roles is the following: is that the business analyst, he is mostly focused on the requirements, and he is mostly focused on getting the requirements and to communicate and communicating these requirements to the team, to the development team, and you, of course. So he is mostly focused on the requirements roadmap, requirements analysis. He is mostly involved in communication with stakeholders. He is focused on solution, and he is also writing all the user stories and stuff, right? And he is responsible for the project acceptance criteria. While, as I already mentioned, the product owner is a person who has this vision. He knows how this product should look like in the nearest future. So product owner knows the product roadmap. He has the market focus. He understands the customer. He understands customers, your users, and this is exactly what you as a designer should do, right? And he knows how to satisfy user needs. He knows this great artifact as competitive market analysis, and he understands the strategy. So of course, it's in real world. We understand that there are some other cases possible in the real life. So as you may see, designer should closely work with both roles, with a business analyst who is a stakeholder voice, and also with the product owner who is a market voice. Because as designers, of course, we have this very hard job of uniting stakeholders and market's voice, and we have to satisfy both business needs and user needs. So some effective collaboration tips, how to gain the how to become great friend for your product owner. So you have to gain the same product knowledge as your product owner has. Why is this important? Because in order to speak the same language with this person with this role, you have to understand what this role and what this person understands. So you have to be truly interested in the domain. Of course, it starts with the onboarding, but let's be honest. Not all onboardings on all our projects are perfect. So when you just join the team, when you just join the new project, please be truly interested in the domain. You have to do your desk research. You have to read some information, to Google information. This is a very nice skill. And you have to ask as many questions as you may ask. Of course, some of these questions may sound stupid to you, but there are no such thing as stupid questions. You have to participate in demos. It's very often case when, of course, as designers, we go ahead of our developers, right? Maybe 2 weeks, maybe sprint, maybe more. And there is a real case when designers might skip demos because they already know this information. Why should they go to these meetings, useless meetings, right? But it's very important. Because as a designer during this demo, of course, people may ask questions, and it's nice when you are answering these questions. And also, why it is important, because this is a chance for you to review your work, and like when this work is implemented. Of course, make acquaintance and become best friend with BA. Ask lots of questions. Keep a finger on the industry pulse. It's very important, not only if you're working on a kind of simple project, but also on complex domains. And know your roadmap. You have to know what your product, how your product would change, not only tomorrow, today, in a week, but also what is the bigger goals, what's the strategy of your product. In that way, you could contribute to brainstormings or other meetings, and you can add some great ideas. So I had this experience of working with product owners from internal team. I mean, for example, in EPAM. So yes, I had this experience working with product owners who were from my internal team, and also experience with working with product owners from the external team. So, and there is a difference in collaboration between these two, let's say, roles again. Yeah. So, product owner from the internal team would more likely stand on your side in some discussion, in different discussions, right? Also, if your product owner is from internal team from the same company as you work for, he would this role. They would help you to manage the scope. This is very important on the fixed price projects, where on some fixed price projects you may have like WAG requirements, and this is the cases when the customer is trying to add as much functionality and as much scope as they can. And in these cases, product owner would most likely stand on your side and help you to manage the scope. What is the main disadvantage of this situation is that this product owner from the internal team, not always, I'm not saying usually, but I'm saying not always has big impact on the customer team. And in these cases, usually they have the other person who acts also like a product owner, but from their team. When you work with the product owner from the external team, it's a very common case that you have language barrier, which is very important, and because you have to talk the same if you have not the perfect English, for example, and you have to engage in different conversations, it might be hard for you. You would have more formal communication because mostly you are interacting with this person during work, right? And also some politics may apply. Politics is, if maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but this is the case when this politics refers to the use of power and social networking within a workplace, trying to achieve specific goals, often at the expense of others. So, for example, when people are trying to form like unofficial groups and something like that, this is not the best situation. This is not the best, what could happen on the project, but believe me, it happens. And also, it is harder for this person to engage with the team. Because again, language barrier, mostly formal communication. In most cases, they are located in different offices. So, of course, it's harder. So, what else you could do to become a great ally with your product owner? Manage the expectations. At the time when you join the project, ask how does your product owner see the collaboration with the design team or with you if you are one person design team. But of course, you have to your own vision as well. Why is this important? Because when you are joining the project and the first thing that you do is you are asking your product owners what to do, then this person would think, okay, so he wants me to tell him what to do, then I will do it like every day. Do you want to do this? Do you want to become person who who does everything product owner says? Maybe not. In that case, have your own vision and suggest this at the very first time you join the project. Understand what is important for your product owner, and this might not always be the KPIs of the product. How to do that? Engage in the conversations. Go to networking. Go to set up one-to-one with your product owner. You must have more conversations with them. Also, ask about the KPI that must be tracked. Or achieved. In that way, you will show yourself as a goal-oriented person, result-oriented person. Make a direct question. Ask direct question. What are your expectations from our collaboration? And also ask for regular sync-ups. The next slide is the illustration from the great book, which is called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And this book was written by Patrick Lencioni. This is a great book. I would highly recommend you to read it, or especially for designers who act as a team leads. Sorry, I'm officially on a sick leave today, so sorry for that. And you see that the second, this second part of this triangle, that one of the dysfunction is fear of conflict. So this is why I'm showing this to you, is to let you know that a correct conflict actually is a good thing. Correct conflict is when you are focused mostly on a goal and on a problem, rather than like some personal stuff. And now I'd like to show you the matrix on how you can solve conflicts with your product owner. And you can also apply this to any role on your project. So first of all, think about interest of this person. But do this before stating the problem. Because if you start from the problem first, then you would be focusing on some negative stuff. For example, he asks me to make this button red, and that's it. And you will stuck there. Start from the interests. And on this matrix, I would demonstrate the case that I had on my previous project. No, not my current project, where I just joined I just joined the stream as a team lead, and the person, the product owner, asked me to start working with the designers who were working on the stream, even though it was not my team at first, because he told me, okay, so they don't know what to do. I usually tell them what to do, because what they do is not valid and everything. So, and after that, I went to designers and I talked to them, and I figured out that they had a lot of complaints as well. They told me he always tells us what to do. We don't feel motivated. We don't like this work and everything. So what I did, I started to state the interests and fears of each role. So in this situation, what we have, we see that our product owner is interested in making better design decisions. He also wants to grow as professional. He wants to be efficient, and he wants to trust his team, because working with the designs is not his responsibilities at all, right? At the same time, we see that there are some fears and concerns of this person. We see that design team won't be spent. He fears that design team time won't be spent efficiently. We see that he fears that design decisions won't meet the requirements, and design solutions won't be feasible to implement. When we go to designer's interest, here it states your interest, but you usually have to write your interests, because this is the matrix for solving conflicts, your conflicts. And we see that these designers actually, they had the same interests. They wanted to make better design decisions, they wanted to grow as professionals, and they wanted to be efficient. Also, they wanted to make impact on the product, which of course I think you also wanted to do as well. Also, we see that designers in this case were feared that they would be just the simple artists, not the designers. We also see that they feared that they would lose motivation. And they knew, of course, they knew that the product owner has now design expertise. So they feared that design decisions would not be very qualitative. So first of all, when you create this matrix, and you will see that actually you have the same interests. And what you have to do is you have to go to your product owner and you have to tell them, okay, so you see we have the same interests. What we have is different is our fears. And working with fears is easier than working with the person who has different vision. So just a second, I'm gonna need just a little bit of time.
All right. While we're waiting, I just want to remind you that you can ask your questions in the chat. And right after the speech, Julia will answer it. So
Yeah, thank you.
I think she's back. Yeah.
Okay, so let's proceed. Another tip: ask what's the goal of the task, right? That you just received, but do not ask what to draw. Although there are some cases when it would be beneficial, but I will cover them later. Okay, so you have to understand the vision that your product owner has to this task, because okay, we are designers, we are great people, but we may not always know what is really needed, because we may have not enough knowledge, domain knowledge as well. Also, start from quick, I guess this well known for all designers, but start from simple sketches, validate this with your BA and development team. This is very important. Just stop preparing dozens of versions for every task. This is also what I'm asking my designers to do. Just stop doing this. Stop saying, okay, I have 3 versions. I'm going to show them to you, and then you will decide. So why are you doing this with your product owner? Does this person has design expertise? No. Then why are you making person without design expertise to make design decisions? I don't know. Do you want to do that? Like, do you believe them more than yourself? I don't think so. So always go, I would recommend, and this is my rule, always go with a version that you believe in the most, and try to justify the solution. Okay, there are some cases when you are wrong. This could be possible. In that case, you can revert to the previous versions if you understand this previous version fits the goal better. But just stop preparing different versions and asking other people who are not designers to make this design decision for you. Okay. And also show user research results, competitors' examples, best practices when you are justifying your design solution. Oh yeah. Now the best part of this presentation, personally for me. So I had like different cases working with different product owners. And the first case is product owner micromanager. I believe that some of you also had these situations, were in these situations. What to do if you meet a product owner who is micromanager? So first of all, most likely people who apply micromanagement are the people who think that they are the only person who make things work, and they are the only persons who can do this job. It's not like they are bad people, not at all, but this is just their thoughts. So what you have to do? You have to build trust. You have to suggest an accountability system. For example, at the end of every day, I will send you the link to the design that I worked on today, and you will review it, and you will tell me whether I am moving in the right direction. The next one is when you understand that you can't do this anymore, overfeed them. What does it mean? If this person wants to know everything what you are doing, then tell them everything. Tell them about even the teeny tiny thing that you are working right now. The goal here is to overfeed this person, because of course they don't only have this design work, they also have different stuff. And if you overfeed them with the information, at some point of time, they will definitely tell you to stop. Establish expectations, we already covered that. And ask for forgiveness instead of permission. I guess it's pretty clear. Do something first, and then if it not work, just say, okay, I'm sorry, I just wanted to try that. If it doesn't work, then fine. The next one. The next case is product owner has lots of ideas, but the team has limited capacity. This also could happen. What you should do? Make meeting notes after every meeting, because this is your everything. This is also kind of accountability system. Bring several system architect to your meetings, because this is the first person who would tell them, no, this is impossible to implement. In your project, it could be a system architect, developer, team lead, or something like that. Create design roadmap for these cases, because every time when you see that your product owner is trying to go to space, as I say, you will put them back saying that, okay, so let's look at the design roadmap. We don't have this here. And if you want to add something here, something to our scope, then that would mean that we would have to postpone other features. Do we want to do that? Make estimations and also think about the risks when you make these estimations. And when you see that something is very good, but you don't know whether it could be done, especially on the fixed price projects, ask your business analyst to check what's in SOW, because this is the main document that would show that states everything that should be covered in the project. Okay, so the next case. Product owner creates draft sketches for designers. As I said, of course, it sounds terrifying, but there are positive aspects of this case, and I will tell you why. So when you join the meeting and your product owner says, okay, so I just created this amazing feature. So look at that, because I already created the design. And if you're okay with that, I will hand off this wireframe to our development team. So first of all, ask about the goal. What is the goal of this feature? What is very important here is that you have to agree that these drafts, this wireframe, as they say it, because this is a very well-known term right now, agree that these drafts are a way to communicate the requirements. They are not the final solution, because again, product owner is not the person who is a design expert, right? So we are discussing this wireframe of yours because it would be much easier for us to agree on the functionality that we have to cover. But as a design expert, I will have to review this and think on the best interface that would suit this goal. Okay. So this is what you have to do. After that, give proper feedback to your junior colleague, to your product owner when he presents the designs, the wireframes. But remember that you are not a mentor. This is not really your junior colleague. So try not to dive deep to design stuff and terms, because that would be very overwhelming. The next case, product owner asks development team to create solutions, and only after that designers create designs. It sounds horrible again, but in my current project, this is exactly what saved this project. So what you have to do in this case, you have to ask for priorities. What is the highest priority here? And maybe there is, and why, by the way, why are they doing this? In my project, why were they doing this? Because we had to deliver something fast, and creating designs would take a lot of time. And we, in general, we had the design system, we knew how it should look like, and also the requirements were very vague. So yeah, we did with this development first approach. But what we also did, we asked for priorities, and for those features that were not the highest priority, we started with the design. Also, you have to ask your front-end team to inform you after every new idea, because in that way you could make updates in the designs or start designs at all, in general. You are the consistency warrior in this case, because you have to track whether this amazing development team not using new style of button for every screen. Of course, it's easier with the design system. You have to use task tracking for you and front-end team. Believe me, in this case, is good enough is perfect. We all know what the perfect design process should look like. We all know that, but unfortunately, in real life, it's not always possible to follow this perfect design process. So in this case, especially in this case, good enough is perfect. And your main goal after all this stuff happened, you have to conduct usability testing, at least with your internal team, at least with your internal users, because actually your team is also your internal users. And after this usability testing, you will have enough information for the further design changes. The next case, product owner trusts you, but there are other people who has more impact to the final product. What you should do in this case, invite the person who is a decision maker to team brainstormings and presentation. Conduct an impact mapping workshop, very nice artifact to my mind. This is the workshop where you define main goal, actor who would make it possible to achieve this goal, how this actor would impact this process of achieving this goal, and what should be the deliverable. And what you should do, this is a very nice trick, I really like it very much. Conduct design presentations together with your product owner, and they should be your voice. I know that designers really like to conduct demos to present their amazing work, but there are some cases, especially when you just joined the project, or there are some cases when you have not enough trust from these decision makers because they have like higher levels or something like that. Then discuss with your product owner that you think that it would be more beneficial if they would do the demo. Discuss with them what to say, discuss like the main focus points, and let them do that, and you will see that you will reach this buy-in easier. Yeah, so before I end my presentation, the last tips and tricks. Stop being afraid of your product owner. You have the same goal as we already discussed, right? In this conflict solution matrix. Convince your product owner like you convince your customer. I usually say to my team that before we show any design solution to our product team, we have to be fully aware that this design solution would really work. And we have to present our work to them like we do it for our customer. Next, stop talking about buttons. Ask about the problems that must be solved. Even when you are during you having a conversation with your product owner, and you see that they start talking with the buttons. Let's make input here, button here, and something like that. Ask them to just shift focus from the solutioning to discussing the goal. Also, do not forget to invite your business analyst and a system architect to team brainstorming. Next, even if your idea was not approved, there is still a chance that the next time or after usability testing, you will be heard. And I want to finish my presentation with the motivational sentence that product owner is your ally in every conversation with your customer. And sometimes they are even your voice. That would be it from me. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Yes. Thank you, Julia, for the very interesting and I think very, how to say, applicable talk for us. And we have at least one question in chat. I think I can show it here and I'll read it for you. What would you do if you, the designer, had a conflict with your product owner regarding the MVP or sprint scope executions, for instance, capacity, timeline, no budget, and tight schedules?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I usually see when I work with designers, is that we tend to think that design is everything. Unless we do this design research, user research, product will fail. Everything would be very bad, and so on and so forth. But what we usually don't know is that the product may have limitations in resources, and resources. I mean, time, budget, and staff, people who work on this project, and so on and so forth. So yes, you might have a conflict on this about this MVP, but as I already suggested, try to understand what are interests of your product owner. Why why are they doing this? Why are they not allowing you to include some feature to this MVP? Maybe it's very costly to implement, right? Maybe it would take much time, and maybe there is some other reason. I don't really know. I'm not in the context of your project. So first of all, understand what is the reason, and if the reason is lack of resources, so actually, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do. I mean, if the reason is lack of budget, again, what we can do with that? We can we can in this case we can agree that this feature should be done the first thing after the MVP. Then, okay, we can agree on that. But we cannot really block a release because we think that without this feature, the whole project would fail, especially if only I as a designer think so. So what I would do, I would I would create this matrix that I showed you earlier in previous slides. I would try to understand why my product owner is doing that, why he is. I don't know exactly the case, but let's imagine that he's blocking feature, right, to MVP. I would try to understand what is the reason, and after that I would really want to have a conversation with my product owner to discuss what we can do. So okay, we most likely have the same goals. So you want this product to succeed, I want this too. I see that you don't have like the same vision to this feature, so let's discuss what is the reason behind that. And I'm sure that you have to discuss this. I'm sure you have to understand what are the goals. And during the discussion, I'm sure that you will come up with the action plan. But what is very important is do not try to block the delivery, because designers are often known as a people who are trying to slow the delivery because they want to do a user research, and we don't really have to do that. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for this answer. And actually, I could add here that sometimes when this happens, I try to treat it as a personal challenge to try to make it cheaper. The way to deliver the same value with less costs of
Yeah.
development or something
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
All right. I think we have no more questions left here in chat. However, you can still ask Yulia for anything, and she will answer you to the chat in the written form. So thank you, Yulia,
Thank
very
you.
much for your
Thank you. And
marvelous
sorry for my
topic.
voice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're my personal hero today because I understand you so much. I have the same kind of illness, and I couldn't even imagine to talk for 40 minutes long, without any interruptions. So thank you.
Bye.
All right, so we can move forward, and our next speaker is Artem Lizhnuk. Yes, to be honest, I've been waiting for this topic the most, because Artem will tell us about organizing the processes, which I expect to be extremely useful for everyone. So we'll no longer occupy the stream and passing my word to Artem.
Thank you. I hope you see my screen well, because it's ultra wide. Maybe I have to swap
Yes, it
them.
has a bit of borders, but that's okay.
That's okay? Okay, then I continue with my presentation. First of all, Ira, thank you for having me today. And I want to thank everyone for making the time to attend this session. Let me tell you a bit about myself. In IT, I've been working for more than 10 years, and my first job was a system administrator. Then I worked as a front-end engineer at EPAM, and not only. And finally, more than 7 years ago, I came to design. So this is my workflow, let's say. Currently, I'm a senior designer with background in building design systems and leading teams. Also, most of my experience is in designing complex enterprise applications and solutions. Nevertheless, a few years ago, I had the chance to work on on an interesting project based on Salesforce with a quite strict Scrum process. So today I'll give you a brief overview of what Scrum is and which activities we have inside of it. Also, I'll have a bit of a look at the definition of ready for designers and how you can organize your tasks, Figma, teamwork, etc. So hopefully by the end of this talk, we will walk away with some tips and tricks, useful information, which you can apply to your work. And also, we will leave ample time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions if you have so. Without further ado, let's get started. What is Scrum? Basically, it's a way for a team to work together and complete complex projects by breaking them into some smaller, easier to manage parts, let's say. The team work in short cycles, which called sprints, to complete those pieces of the project and get feedback from customers, users, stakeholders, and to help improve the product itself. And let's take a look at this list of activities which I have on the slide. As you can see here, we have product backlog creation. It's usual thing here. Sprint planning, sprint execution, daily stand-ups with team, sprint reviews, and sprint retrospectives. I genuinely think that designers should be active in all these activities to achieve best results. Of course, you can argue about it, but for example, on previous session, Julia said that sometimes we can skip our demos. It's a sprint review, another way in Scrum, and you can not attend here. But sometimes it can be useful to attend sprint review and to explain something if some questions appeared. Also, in such activity like sprint review, designers can present their work also, because you will see on further slides that we work ahead, sometimes in one sprint, sometimes in two even. So we also can show everyone, not only to our team, but also to customer, what we are doing right now. So let's continue. Sometimes we don't know how to explain to our team, to our team members, what we are doing as a designers and what we are capable of. And also, Sergey said that we have to document some stuff. So I also here want to prove it, that we have to document for our team, for our customer, what we are doing. So my proposal to you is to create documentation on how UX team works, how what's the design approval process, for example, how we can test our solutions, what common tools we are using or are used, or even where things some located to make it easier for everyone to get things done. And optimizing processes and workflows is about how to work more efficiently. Tools and methods across UX can be standardized for working with products and development. So it's pretty common to do presentations on how UX works and how UX team works with others. Uh, if this process is documented, it helps to give even credibility to UX teams. And of course, everything what you documented, you have to present to the team, not only UX team, but also to the development team, BA team, and to the client, of course, because for them will be more transparent what you are doing, uh, what you are doing basically, and transparency always helps us to achieve common goals. As you can see from this list, which was generated by ChatGPT, we have to document process overview, design criteria, which deliverables we have, how we collaborate or communicate with team. As I mentioned earlier, what are the design approval process, sorry, etc. And as I mentioned earlier, we, as the designers, we work ahead. We work ahead of development to make sure all iterations, can happen if needed. And the general guideline is 2 sprints, but of course it depends on where you are in the process. It depends on the team and others. And during the sprint planning, designers collaborate with the development team, prioritize design tasks that needed to be completed within the upcoming sprint. So everything should be prepared before planning. So you have to clarify everything with developers, that it's doable, implementable, and so on. You have to approve it with the client. So you have to work as sometimes with a business analysis team, and you have to work ahead. And one of the main things which has to be documented is definition of ready, DOR, for designers. DOR is an important concept in Scrum that outlines the criteria that must be met before a task or feature can be included in a sprint. Let's read some of them. For example, design works with realistic data. Design works on the target screen resolutions. Design mainly built with UI components from our UI library. Some edge cases are covered, empty states considered, error success states also have been considered. Some accessibility criteria also covered, and so on. Of course, this list should be should be created depending on your project. For example, right now I'm working on design system, and this list sometimes is not applicable, or we have to extend it, or we have to cut it. And for example, here, the last point, as you can see, designs discussed and confirmed with the developer or development team that solution is implementable. Without it, you cannot say that your job is done, your task is or story is ready. So all these criteria depend on your specific project once again, and meeting the DOR helps to ensure that the design work is prepared in a way that it's prepared properly. The development team can successfully implement it without any complaints, without you can prevent just any miscommunication during the process of development, because everything should be covered. As you may know, in Scrum also exists such definition like definition of done, and definition of done describes the criteria a product must meet to be considered complete and meet quality standards. So definition of done has to include a design review before some features will be released. From QA perspective, the design review process is an important to ensure that the features or products being released and meet the expectations of the users and stakeholders. In my case, we described to the team our acceptance criteria for design review, for design issues, and we divided them into two groups. As you can see here, UI issues and UX issues. For example, previous speaker mentioned that designer can be a blocker to release some feature. I can say that we can, because if something developed not very well, with really critical issues for users, that, for example, as we mentioned here, user cannot delete something or click or navigate properly. It's crucial from UX perspective that if something doesn't work properly, okay, if we are talking about some minor or medium issues from our list, if we have wrong colors, fonts, etc., it's really minor. But if something doesn't work properly, user cannot perform some actions, it's not done. So we have to include this design review before everything will be showed during the demo for the client. So depending, in our case, we decided, is it releasable feature or not, depending on the number of these issues, and after it we decided, is it acceptable or not. For example, if you have many UI minor medium bugs, it's not acceptable, but you can discuss with the UX team. And everything you can see here on the slide was documented and shared and presented to the team. I'm finished with the documentation part, and now I can, someone is typing. I hear a cat. Sorry for that. Yeah, I have microphone from my laptop, and cat really wants to enter the room. Sorry for that. Where I stopped. Let's talk about the organization routine in Figma. Firstly, on my Salesforce project, I decided that it would be really convenient for me and even for developers and QA team to divide all my pages in Figma to like each Jira ticket. And after some time, I even added some emoji status here. As you can see here, I have like letters and numbers. It's a Jira ticket number. Then I have some description and emoji status in the beginning. For example, monitor, it means that everything was developed. Just check mark was approved with the client. Folder, it's like drafts. And we have also in progress task, it's a pen. It's just for our convenience that we to understand what we are doing right now. And that was helpful for mainly for two reasons. The first one, team operates with the Jira ticket approach. So when developer has a ticket, Jira ticket, he knows its number. And for him, it's easier to navigate through our Figma files to find correct ticket and correct designs. And for QA team as well. That's really helpful. And as the second reason, as we have an iterative process, each Jira ticket is some kind of improvement for the base story, for the base task. So we can easily see all the changes. For example, here, that was the first iteration of some feature. That was the second one. That was some improvement to that. And you can see the changes, how our designs evolving even. Yeah. Another tip, let's say, that for our easier navigation through our Figma files, we create 3 types of previews for our files. Red one for each big feature or object. For example, we had a complex project with different objects. Let's say one object is account, the second one is some kind of investment proposal. Different flows, different objects had at that time, and now maybe different files. For us, it's quite easy and clear what we can find and where. White one and gray one we used for libraries, green one for UX artifacts. Mainly we had files from workshop boards, some flows, UX audits, etc. And those files were in FigJam. Just for us, it was really convenient. Another, let's say, tip is to use Jira widget for Figma. It works only for Jira from like cloud solution, which you can buy, but it doesn't work at EPAM, like internal projects, but it works for Atlassian cloud solution, Jira. And for easier navigation between Jira and Figma, we used this Jira widget. This is kind of plugin that allows you as a designer or developer to easily manage Jira issues directly from Figma design environment. So basically, you can create or update stories or tasks, assign people on them, and change priorities directly from Figma. And it's just all about some time-saving convenience for you as a designer and for a whole team who involved in the development process. And it works also for FigJam. For example, I found it very useful during the workshop with the client. We generated bunch of ideas in FigJam, prioritize them, and after it, using this plugin, we just converted all our stickers, not all, but which we decided to do it as a stories. We converted as a stories to Jira by just one click. You can convert your sticker to Jira ticket, and you save all the information which you have on that particular sticker, and everything goes to Jira, and that's great, isn't it? And after such exercise, you can create roadmap in Jira and uh, prioritize everything. Of course, uh, as guys earlier mentioned, uh, you have to have a roadmap for you. You have to know what to do next, what your team will do, and etc. But at the same time, for example, in our case, we had this roadmap. We had our UX, let's say, roadmap, and for a whole team uh, roadmap. And mm, with the help of planning in Jira, you can understand what you will do, which like stories blocks you or blocked by each other, and sometimes it seems to be quite complex that you have to plan something like a project manager or product owner, but for you it's even great that you have such instrument. But of course in Jira you have to have your own roadmap. You have to have some kind of maybe custom labels to create this roadmap only for you, for your team. And if you have such powerful tool, you always have to prioritize and show it and repeat it with the client. Don't be shy to do that. When you speak out loud and show it, present it, you will be more and more transparent and on the same page with your client. Yeah, but honestly, you cannot do everything in Jira. It's not enough because we are designers and we have a lot of ideas for improvements. We have some tasks for documentation, just some tasks for, I don't know, UI library updates or adding some new elements there. And you cannot do that inside of Jira. Uh, and you can, of course, but it's not so convenient as you can do it in Trello, for example, or Notion or whatever you can like. And you can use it, but you have to keep in mind that you have to update it. You have to update your statuses in Jira and here in your tool. For example, in our case, we had just links inside of our small tasks here in Trello, and yeah, we put some tasks here, and we created some to-do list to split some huge tasks to smaller one. Yeah, and what I want to say you here, as you can see, we have different columns for backlog, to do, in progress, done, questions to business, question to dev, QA, BA, and we have even more columns here. You have to create different columns to manage your tasks for different roles. For example, here for questions to dev and QABA, you can split it into 3 columns. If you have something to discuss with some particular team, you can throw this ticket directly to this board, and you always can see what you have to discuss with someone. For example, Sergey mentioned that you have to be prepared for the communication with customer. This really helps you to be prepared for such calls with customers, because, for example, here, questions to business, as you can see here, email verification. You always, if you have something to clarify with customer, with BA, you work on some ticket, it's okay, it's in progress, but you can drop to another column, and it will be like a notepad for you. You don't, of course, it's about convenience, you can take some notes, but it's more about collaboration. Here we worked as two designers, and for us it was really convenient to have everything in digital. We can assign on each other and so on. Also, you can create columns for example, your daily or weekly meetings. It also helps you to explain team what you did, what you are doing. Just drop your cards here and it will be more useful for you. I have here another example in my current project, UUI, and as you can see here, it's a design system. We also have here a bunch of columns like backlog, on hold, design review needed, to do, in progress, library board. It's a column where we have bunch of designers from different projects and discuss something. So verify with developers done. We have even more columns. They are not fit to the screen, but nevertheless, here we have columns. Also, we have a separate tab with timeline, and if we have some deadlines for our tasks, we can see also this roadmap, and we can plan everything. It's really convenient. Yeah. And once again, show everything to your client. Schedule a separate call. Discuss your plans. Discuss your current tasks. During this discussion, you can prioritize it, and you can drag all these Gantt charts inside of your tools like Jira or Notion, whatever. And it helps you to be more transparent, and you always will meet some expectations from the client. They will be on the same page with you, and that's great. And after everything, share all updates which you received from the client to the team, to BAs, developers, and to, of course, designers team, if you have so. That was it from my end. Thank you everyone for your attention. I hope I wasn't so boring, let's say, with this organizational stuff. Now you can ask some questions.
Thank you, Artem. Yeah, we do have some questions here in the chat. And first one, from your opinion, which is the best way to push team to follow DOR and DOD? Bribes, blackmail, or relative kidnapping?
It depends on which team do you mean. For example, if you're talking designers team, we can go through the list of DOR for each task which we are doing, and we have to push. We have to push someone. Oh, it's Dima's questions. Okay, from Dima. What I can add here? If you're talking about DoD, it's you have to push QA team first of all, or developers team to include you in design review process, because sometimes they don't remember about it. Someone were onboarded improperly, and they don't know that designers have to do such things. And also we have, as a Scrum activity retrospective, you always have to highlight that it is not according to our process. It is not about you failed with definition of done. We cannot deliver successful features and our clients unhappy with it, because in my experience we got this feedback from the clients that when feature was raw and it worked improperly, and that's why we included everything and in this list of definition of done, and included it one more time our team, and described all these types of issues like minor, critical, and so on. And
Thank you.
yeah, mainly that's it.
Sorry. Next one. It's again from Dima. Are there any difference between definition of done and non-functional functional requirements?
I cannot answer to this question. Maybe Timo, let's discuss it separately. Maybe I didn't get it.
Okay. Dima, you can share your opinion in the comments as well for us to read.
Yeah.
Ira is asking how big the team of designers should be to follow this process.
I can say you can follow this process even if you are alone, if you only one designer. It depends on how much developers do you have in the team or business analysts, because it becomes harder and harder to do everything, because you have to plan everything ahead. You have to, I don't know, describe some stories, include some links, discuss everything with developers, discuss everything with the client, and in the same time you have ongoing sprints, and you have to support currently your team developers, because always we have some questions. When when you're alone, it's harder. But as I know, when I left this project, I know that still working one designer, Alexandra Ulyanchuk, and I opened the Trello, and she still follows this flow or process.
Thanks. Thank you. Another question from Denise. How would you plan the design discovery process in the fast-paced Agile and Scrum environment?
Let me think. It's a bit harder, because if you have fast-paced processes, it's really hard to plan some discovery activities. But you can involve to that your product owners. They can at least can help you with stakeholders to manage who is responsible for that, for what, and sorry, but I don't have anything to answer off the top of my head right now. Mm, I'm a bit stuck with this question.
But it's a great
as
one to
well.
discuss probably in a
Yeah,
bigger meetings with
because
more
when you work
stories.
with in fast way, it's hard to manage everything. You have to maybe use some helpers like chat gpt because they can generate some ideas for you, and you can create some basic list of, for example, definition of ready or definition of done, and correct it and put it to the team, share it, but without presenting maybe. But is it makes any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, like
Mm,
maybe involve more team and discuss what's discoveries for everyone, because sometimes we just left out in a bigger teams. Discovery is kind of forgotten, and it's good to
yeah.
remind people that you need that time. I think close to the one that we already answered is, as a product designer in an agile and Scrum environment, how will you envision user stories and OKRs?
Hmm. It's also everything is possible, and you can define all OKRs, what you needed, but it depends on the product. Sometimes it's hard to define OKRs when you work on, for example, as I worked on Salesforce project, because we didn't have like, it was hard to access to our users, and we cannot measure impact of UX to final product. It depends mainly on this, from my point of view.
Yeah,
Uh,
we have
main
Irina.
as I mentioned, I mentioned that I mainly worked as an enterprise on enterprise products, and it's hard to sometimes it's hard to measure UX. If you're talking about products, you always have to have users, some data, and so on. Because in our Salesforce product, let's say, we didn't have, for example, even Google Analytics because of security policies of the client.
mm, did you measure like something that if it was live, it was when it was out, so it was
We
coming back to you?
measured just via usability sessions. We had several times through the surveys, and just through the interview and subject matter. We always discussed everything with subject matter experts.
It's interesting to know. I think we've done with questions. Just one comment from Irina to the same question of Denise. I would say you could define MVP of the process that will work for the exact project and follow it at least. What would you say?
Yeah, I totally agree. You can start from something just to deliver, then through the refinement sessions with the team, you can discuss what was great, what went well, and so on, what wasn't working for the team, and so on. Because it's always iterative process.
We've done with questions, and you've got a lot to choose
Too
from
much.
for the best for the best question. Thanks a lot. That was very interesting. Thanks, Artem.
Thank you,
Um,
Agnim.
and let's move on. And our next speaker is Maria Tokar from Platea community.
Hi guys.
Hi, Maria. Hi, very nice to see you. And Maria is going to present on the topic of design process and cross-team collaboration. And the stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so our topic is design process and cross-team collaboration, and I'm Maria Tokar. I'm senior experience designer. I have more than 7 years of experience in design and 3 of them working with EPAM. And I will show you like how we see the collaboration on the design process and some other things. So yeah, our agenda is for perspectives on design process, then tools for collaborating with non-design teams, some of my cases of collaborating on design system, and my personal tips and tricks. So, like everyone knows, like in design sphere about um, design thinking process, yeah, and the stages of it. But let's see the our product steps where we are working in. So what steps our product has? So the first one is audit in consulting. So when we have only some vision and idea of the product, but it will be surprise for many of non-design teams that designers they're really into it. They're participating in pre-sales and making consultancy and help with plannings and estimations. And then we have research and analysis tab where we have this is like the most favorite stage of a lot of UX designers and UX researchers because we trying to find more about our target audience. We make some reports, making research, and after that we have end-to-end delivery where we, I can say, work with design mockups, with prototypes. So a lot of people think that this is on the stage where we are involved, but no, because we're also on the next stage of evolving at scale. So when we are building the design system and trying to make UX consistency across all the products. And as we see, like on every of the stage, we need to collaborate with other teams. Yes, we are not like just alone in this path. So in audit and consulting stage, we are have a lot of meetings with stakeholders, with product owners, with business analysts. On research and analysis, we are also like trying to get every information that we can get. And this is, if you're lucky, we have the access to end users, but in most cases, it's also about product owners and stakeholders. Um, Even on end-to-end delivery, when we are talking about design mockups and prototypes, we have the syncs with tech team to like align with them with their capacity, and also on evolve and scale stage, we are communicating with other teams like to be aligned with the whole vision. So, okay, let's see the another process that we have. So if you're talking about like steps that design teams making in this flow from the product goal to the product release, like what we have here. So of course, we're starting with defining KPIs, like to understand what we need to do. Then we're making user research, we are making value proposition, then the really important step of planning and prioritizing. On this stage already can have some high level backlog, and then we're making workflows scenarios and um, these things we are doing on the basis that we already get from our research. And then we're making designs, prototypes, and then we validate them with our users and the tech team. And then we are making design system, like patterns and everything that we need for further scale. And then it's a product release. So, and in some time, we already can measure KPIs and evolve further. So, like again, a lot of people think that this is the only stage where designers are working, but and sometimes this is like it, yeah, sometimes you have this project when you're making only what you're set to make, but ideally designers they're all work on all of these steps. And yeah, in thinking about collaboration with our other teams, of course, we cannot define KPIs by ourselves because we need business, product owners, stakeholders, and then again, we need information from them. And from planning and prioritizing the scope, we need also aligning to tech teams, like what their capacity, what our timelines. When we're making the workflows, we validate them, and even on design and prototype stage, then we validate our solution with the tech team. So it's again a collaborating and further steps too. So okay, let's see another design process. And again, I think a lot of you guys know what is it. It's double diamond. And this process also is from like show us our path from goals and KPIs to working solution. And the main point of this process that in some point we are like expanding the field of our actions, and then we are narrowing them at some point, and then again we're expanding and narrowing, and then there's a working solution. So this is how it should be in real life. So yeah, we're making discovery, search, we will synthesize it, we have priorities, strategy, then we're generating ideas and making prototype, then implement it, validate, and poof, we're here. But in real life, we have something like this, because this stage of discovery is taking not so much time as implementation, generation, and all of this stuff. So, and again, sometimes we are not so lucky, so we have like a tons of information, like to have to analyze it. Sometimes just speaking with the main stakeholders. But again, we will have the strategy here. So pretend it will be, I know, e-commerce site, and we want to make the goal and KPIs make revenue bigger. So what we're making, okay, we see the challenge, we are collecting data, then we are narrowing our field to understand that the most like important flow for us is checkout. Yeah, so we have a strategy, we have a priority to make this flow better. And then we're starting to generate our ideas, how to make it better. We can make structure, blueprint, navigation, and this is all like iterations, because of course we are working with feedback, with presentations. We get like some edits on this and going back and forth. And yeah, essentially we go to the sum. So you see this is narrowing, and we have like already finalized prototypes and concepts, and then they're ready, and we go to with design system, and then it's a working solution. So yeah, again, here we have a lot of collaboration, and even if it sounds like it's something on the design thing, like blueprint, I know, like prototype, surface, design system, it always goes along with our communication with non-design teams. Okay, let's see that the last one, our design process, and this is design sprint. And you can think about it, the design sprint, it's all about designers, yes, but no, again, no. Okay, let's start. So we creating some features, yeah. So we need a sprint planning. Then, and of course, again, on sprint planning, there are some of teams that will be present in your planning. It's not only about designers. And for brainstorming, I would like recommend to call on this brainstorming not only your designers, but product owner, solution architect, business analyst as well, because they're really smart folks that can help you, even because designers are not only making some beautiful buttons, yes, and fonts. We are making solutions, and to make the best solution is one of the ways is to collaborate with your team. So then we have designing and prototyping, and yes, here we are alone at last. And But then we have internal and tech things because we need to validate our solutions with the tech team. We're presenting, we're getting feedback and iterations, and then the final presentation, this final, and then we have approval and our task closed. So we have collaboration even in design sprint. And moreover, while we're doing our job, we have in parallel, like with our sprint, we have other things to do. And this is design QA for development tasks. So this is a really good thing to do. And even if nobody tell you to do so, do it, because like you are owner of design and designer has really good eye on the details, and you as a designer and owner, you have intention to do something, so it is really better for you to check that this your task that's already developed, and you can make a box then and yeah, but nobody will hate you, I hope. Then we have a supported documentation, and it's also collaboration with developers. And then the thing that was already said on the previous lecture about grooming, plannings, demos, it's all about agile and scrum, but it's really important because when developers making their grooming, this is estimation, they're like counting how much time it will take for them to do this. They're looking into stories, and they're asking a lot. Even if the story like ideal, they will always have questions. And if the story is built on your design, like you can help them a lot to answer these questions. And yeah, just go there, even nobody says you to go here. And then plannings is also, they're also really important. Why? Because you understand what are they doing, what developers are doing right now, what they will be doing in the future, and you can align all of these things. Sometimes it's aligned by managers, but if not, just it's also like your goals to have this all aligned. And also demos, when developers are showing demos for the stakeholders, you can also go there and see if everything works as you expected and looks as you expected, because only you sometimes know like how it should be. So yeah, we saw like 4 different ways to see how designers in their processes working with other teams. And now I will show like some tools that can be used to work with them. So the first one is not really obvious because it's not so common that we are collaborating with marketing teams, because marketing teams, it's all about, sometimes it's all about brand, and we are working with really complicated solutions and not unicorns. But sometimes this information that marketing specialists can give you, this information can be got from product owners, I know business analysts, somebody from the team. So sometimes they can give you only credentials. So you need to know like the basic tools to understand what is going on. So everybody knows Google Analytics, and you can also see Hotjar here. It's you can see there heat maps and even videos, how users they're using the product. This is some other tools there. And also I have seen on our project Heap, it's also some insights platform, and it shows you the customer journey, and you can like make some find some good insights there. And even if you are not, you know that it's not available on your project yet, just like, take half an hour and just go and Google it and see some free videos how to use it. So when you will be able to use it, you'll already know the basis. And what you can ask from the team like for marketing team, survey reports, usability reports, analytics reports. They also have already some things that are like designer stuff, but they're also making them like personas and user flows. It's really valuable. Of course, on the stage of discovery, you can call it how you want, like emphasize, research. So like the stage when you need to understand your users, you need to understand the flows, you need to find the user problems. They could help you a lot. And yeah, so just take a look at these tools. So the next one is tools for working with PO, BA, QA, and Dev. And the first one is really obvious, is Jira, and Azure DevOps. And I hope you have seen the previous lectures. It was really cool how you could like work there. And you definitely need also, if you're not working with this right now, just half an hour of your time to just see the basics, you can work with it, because it's important to collaborate in this tool with your non-design teams, like helping them with acceptance criteria, descriptions, links. You can also see history of the stories. You can see PR links, and just like have it in your list what to do with the team. So the next one is Confluence, and of course it's like a wiki, nothing hard. Excel, Google Sheets also, you can work with BA, QA on this, like they're making sometimes some cases there. InVision if you're working in Sketch, like for comments, for handoff. And the last one, like Miro and FigJam, sometimes it's not obvious that you can use them to work with all these folks. Why? Because designers are not like, not on every project. Designer is a person who um, makes more than design. It's unfortunately, but this is so. But we can change this, yeah. And even if you have already like a best manager and scrum master, then they making retrospectives, but you feel that in your workflow with the developers, with QAs, you feel like something's going wrong. You're annoyed all the time. Something like is missing in communication. Just make them like, make a retrospective with them. This is really easy thing to do, and this is not only for managers. If you're really shy, you can your first retrospective can be with some developers, okay, that's already like your friends on the project, so you feel yourself comfortable. And why doing so? So the first one is, it's like a therapy, yeah, because you can ask them and they can say what is wrong, like from their perspective. You can say this, but when you have the stickers, they're just magical, yeah, because you're writing down what they're saying, and this is a validation for them that they are heard, yeah. So that, yeah, they will say this and something will happen. So then you can make something like workshop and ask, why do you think is it happening? And they are generating their ideas, why can it be so, yeah. And then you can ask them, like for action points, what do you think could be made to make this process better? And this is really a key solution, because when even you have a lot of experience in making good processes, like when you go and just say this is a process, follow it, it's not so engaging. um, but if they are involved in this improvement of this process, and this is their ideas, they likely like will follow this new process, and it can help you. So it helped me on my projects a lot. So yeah, really recommendation of using Miro FigJam. So about tools and plugins. So I think everybody works in Figma or heard about Figma. So, but not obvious thing for me was that not every developer teams there have experience working with Figma. Plus, this new feature, this dev mode, is currently like new feature, and not every team knows about it. So my recommendation to make this small knowledge transfer just when you meet the team first time, just to make this contact. You'll showing your design and showing how they could inspect your files. Okay, and then about collaborating is also if you're working with a design system. Like in most cases, you will be using Storybook, and I recommend to add the Storybook add-in Figma. What is it? So this, if you remember, in Storybook we have these components like a button, yes, and under the button you will have the tabs, and the tab will be like some action, some documentation, code, and this add-on it adds a tab to the Figma file. So in real time, QAs and developers, they will be seeing not only the button in Storybook, but a button in Figma. And it will be directly linked to your buttons in Figma. And it will make your process better because like in my case, in my current project, QAs are making this check every time, and they do not have time to just dig inside of Figma library because it's huge. And here you have this direct link, and also if it's like obvious discrepancies, like in Storybook the button is red and in Figma it is blue, they already see that something is going wrong and they can create a bug. So it helps them a lot. So the next tool is Chromatic. And Chromatic is a visual testing and review tool. So what it makes? So it makes some screenshots also of your Figma file and Storybook. So when you have this contribution process, that you have a design system and somebody wants to, some developers team, they want to add something new, they want to change, and you're as a viewer of these changes, you can like see the differences, you can catch visual functional bugs. So very cool tool to use. And also with Chromatic you have a Storybook plugin, so it works like the Storybook add-on Figma but for designers, because when you have this plugin inside of your Figma, you will see like the model window with the real life example of this component in Storybook. And then again, a direct link to the Storybook. Also really helpful. Okay, and when to use all this stuff? Like I think that every stage of the project, so improving design to development process, contribution process, is just your day-to-day activities. Okay, so the next is cases, but I'll be honest with you, is more like flows. My flows collaborating with PO, BA, and CA, a solution architect. So I'm working on design system and some internal products. Our client is a really big fintech company. They're providing financial analysis mm, to their consumers, and we already like done the um, most part of the work. So now we're just like improving something, adding something. So in this process, what it's like to collaborate with these guys. Again, it starts on the planning, even before the planning, and this is PI planning. It's also part of Agile. So it's PI is a product increment. This is like a part, like we have 4 PIs, like every quarter we have a PI, and this planning, we're planning what we're going to do, all the teams, like 3 months, what our objectives, what our dependencies, what our risks, and we understand who is doing what. And so I'm helping before the start of PI. Why? Because we already like we discussing the features that the business already prioritized, but like making the drafts in prototypes helps them to understand what will be the capacity. So like the real case, like we had some feature and say, yeah, we can do this, we can do this in 3 months. But then I started to making the prototypes, and then team um, understood more like how it's complicated, because like a lot of screens, they realize that we have a lot of dependencies with backend. We don't have this information yet, or this accesses yet, so, and we do not have so much capacity for the team. And then we decide to reduce it and make, like, I know, not 10 screens, but it will be 2 screens. And then I proceed to make the final design for it. And for it, I also need to make a resource sometimes. So if it's components, just components to design a system, it's easier. But if we are working on internal product, it's much harder because it's complicated functionality. And I make some options, get feedback, some iterations, and then final design. And after this, our BA making stories. And I love working with BA. They are so great because they have such a sharp mind. They find everything, even if if you think that I already made everything, like empty cases, I know, states, already seen all examples that I need to cover. But no, they always find something and ask most inappropriate questions on your design, and they help to make it better. So really cool collaboration with them on the stage. And some tips and tricks on the stage from my side. And this is controversial because, like previously, our speaker, Yulia, said that she recommends not to make more options, but I will say why I think we should do this. So I think that we need to show at least a few options, and but state a pros and cons for each option, and recommend one of these options. Yet, of course, I think that designers should have a voice and say that I think that, like, because of this, and this, I recommend this option. But why we need more options? Because it's not about only design sometimes. So of course we have more experience in design, but we are designing not only fancy stuff. Sometimes it's technical decisions. So what technology to use? I can using the same design library, I can make different options that can take different uh, time and for development teams. So it helps in my project to find the best tech option, because when I'm making this demo presentation, our leads, solution architects, they're saying, oh yeah, we can do this. And for example, in this option, we cannot do this because we don't have this data, or this data will require like more work from us, and it will be not like in our timeline. And this is also a good possibility to find the best option from a product owner, because they have their own vision, and sometimes they know more about the product than you do, and they help to find this best solution. And you simply give them the choice, and this will be my one of the reasons that I will repeat time after time, and that it's a good practice for you, for your brains, for your design skills, and you show yourself like a mature designer as well. um, but I agree that sometimes you need to make less options, because you need to stop if there's a lot of options and they go on, and there are a lot of edits. You need to just step back and try to find what is going wrong, because sometimes you can miss something, like priorities changed. You can find some insights. So just talk about it, just go to your product owner and like make it from the start. Just ask what you need to do, like what are the goals. Maybe you didn't understand something. Okay. The next cases are collaborating with developers and QA. And with developers, it's one of the flows. We're starting to collaborate on the grooming and estimation sessions. And as I already said, that it's a good practice to attend their sessions and answer their questions. You can help them to estimate more um, like better. Then they're developing something, and of course you have sync with developers and you answer the questions, because the one thing that when they're only seeing the story and the Figma file for 10 minutes on the estimation, and other thing when they start developing it. You're also finding new solutions sometimes, and you can change design even because something is not viable. Then they're making a demo for me on their local machine so I can see if everything is as expected or if it's a contribution from other teams. I'm reviewing PRs and seeing in files what has changed. And my team that is responsible for design system, they're tagging me and asking if these changes are okay. Uh, uh, Especially if the changes like for some UI, the colors, sizes, and they're not variables. So yeah, I'm helping them with it. And then visual key. So I'm making a QA to ensure that everything is good. And we have a flow with QA, and I'm smiling because it's just such a mess. I would love to say that we still have our processes. They're all documented. It's everything is should be good, but we have a lot of fuck ups on this flow. Why? Because when uh, we have regression and it takes 2 weeks, and during this regression our case they're checking all the components, um, and every time we're finding something like that we don't know why it is changed, like despite the process of reviewing demos and everything else in our contributions. So it's a time for be detectives, because with QA we're starting to find like source of truth and who did that. We are looking into Figma, we're looking into PR histories and stories, we're looking in storybook versions. This is really helpful. For example, we have the 10 version 10, and then we just look, okay, on 9 it was okay, this is like on 10, and we go to release notes and see there's some changes. We ask the developers team and design teams, and then we find out what is going on. And after this, if it was a bug, we're making a bug, or it was intended but maybe it doesn't look as we want to, I'm making the improvement story, enhancement story. So yeah, this is the cases. And my next tips and tricks that trust your team. So I really think you need to consult with your team. You need to listen what they say and ask advices, even if it's a design. Sometimes, of course, you have most like experience in this field, but they're your team, and they really maybe I'm so blessed, but I have a wonderful team, and they really experienced in all the things that we are doing. They are really smart and they can help you a lot. And we're a team, so we have same goals. And as always, it's a good practice. So, but vice versa, do not trust your team. Um, why? Because they are humans. We have a human factor, and sometimes like you need to be nerd. What do I mean? So you need to know technology a little bit. So I had the cases when I was told that we cannot do this, but I remember from CSS like that. I remember that it is possible, and I Google it and I see, yeah, it's really possible, and say, here it is, we can do this. And yeah, you need to know what you're working with. Also, you need to ask why. Of course, designers ask this all the time, but also ask this why to your non-design teams, because you can find some insights. In some cases, you will hear the answer, because I don't like this color, or my wife doesn't like this color, but you still can find some insights. For example, um, especially with product owner who knows like a lot. He says, I don't like this accordion. And you ask why. He says that, oh, I know from the tech support that users do not know how to open it. So ta-da, inside just to asking why it is. And or if you want to make some like really good improvements, and you show these improvements, and they say, no, 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 don't do this. And you think maybe it's bad improvements, but when you're asking why it is, they're saying, oh, it's because we have a huge plan to make a whole redesign in a year. And you decide, that's why. Okay, okay, I see. And also explore, it was already said on the previous lectures, that to have like that your voice will be stronger when you recommend some of the opinions and your options in design. When you have not only your opinion, but you have statistics, it really helps. And it helped me a lot on my projects when it was in e-commerce project, but when you, because a lot of statistics you can find on Google, for example, and if you're saying to your product owner that 90% of the users use this pattern and it works, he said, oh, okay, let it be here. So yeah, explore more. And as always, it's a good practice. So, and yeah, the last one is the communication is a key, as already Sergey said about it. And I know that we have also, like everybody thinks that only developers could be introverts, but we have a lot of introverts like in our team. So, but we should be extroverts sometimes, and in most cases, because as we saw on our design process, like we collaborate a lot, really a lot. Even if we're doing only design, we're collaborating with BAs, solution architects, leads, developers, and yeah, with the good communication, we will have best results. Even if nobody asks you to make this communication better, but you feeling that it could be better, just make it so. And yeah, I think that this is it from my side. And a small advertisement that join our Platea design community, because we have tons of cool videos about design. We have YouTube channel, we have podcast, Telegram, we have articles on Medium. Yeah, and I think I'm ready to answer questions if we have them.
Okay, I think while we're waiting for the questions of our audience, please write them down to the chat. I'll just say, Maria, the great thanks. Like I especially liked your tips and tricks, like controversial to each other, because like this is all you need to know about being a designer. Actually,
Yeah.
you always need to like
Yeah,
choose
no
the
straightforward instruction how to make this. Yeah, every time just a lot of design intuition.
Yep. And about options, I have fun advice like that I heard from one of the designers. He said like sometimes designers provide different options just to create the illusion of choice, and use one like proper one option and like the bad one, like just hoping that no one will choose it. And don't do this because they will definitely choose the baddest one, So that can be
Interesting. I think a lot
yeah.
of people, a lot of designers, they're making their work like in different ways. But I think like if you make like 3 really cool options and they just like, wow, every option is just so cool, I like it, then it shows that you're not um, taking your salary just because you're so pretty.
Yeah. Yes, we have just thanks from
Thank you,
Anastasia.
Anastasia.
No questions. Maybe it's all was just very, very structured and understandable. That's why we don't have any questions here. So then,
Okay.
thank you again, Maria.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
Thank you for this talk. I enjoyed it so much. So we're moving to our last part, the last but not least, a panel discussion conducted by DesignSpot community with our cool experts. And I'm passing my word to Dmitry. I think.
Thank you very much, Irina. It was a great day to